Lobster got it back yet. Lobster's a 10, I haven't told you grab it.
Welcome to Lobster Magnets Review, the channel, the review. I'm here doing another solo review for Chapter 96 of Attack on Titan. I should have gotten this out earlier, but I was at New York Comic Con, so that kind of delayed me, and it's also why my channel's been a little bit kind of quiet and scant these past few days. But oh man, do I've got a special treat for you that I was able to get at New York Comic Con. So just wait a little bit, and you'll get to see what I'm talking about. But I'm very pleased with it, so I'm just going to remain coy for now. But this, I really enjoyed this chapter much better than the past few ones. It felt like Attack on Titan with the frickin' Marley saga had been, just being dragged out like a motherfucker. And it was kind of like really, really tedious to read it from week to week. The fact that we had several chapters of the flashback of Reiner leading the warriors behind the walls, which I guess to me felt like ancillary material that should have been dealt with one of those Attack on Titan spin-off novels. It didn't really add anything new other than I guess building sympathy for Reiner. But, this chapter, while not necessarily hugely explosive, did feel like things were being moved into a more interesting direction. And it also felt like the world was being expanded upon. We got to see, the other fictional nations of Attack on Titan to learn that, they have, the Middle Eastern Union is just like our Middle Eastern Union. They apparently have, Japan land in the Attack on Titan universe. Because there's this big festival where the self-hating Jew supreme of the Tiber family is going to make his big announcement of whatever the heck they're going to do, or they're going to although this does, raise a big question about, what is the ultimate purpose motivating Marley, given the fact that, the whole point was that, they wanted to go to Paradise Island, to go, take back their oil, because more wars were going to break out. But now it looks like everyone's at a superficial peace union, so they don't need the oil as badly or something. Or it's one of those things that's I'm not quite sure what the overall goal is, because originally, the whole reason why we know Marley wants Paradise Island to be taken back is so they can take their damn oil, drink up their oil with a milkshake, a la Daniel Plainview from, There Will Be Blood. But now it's not quite so sure, since it seems like everyone's kind of peaceful-ish. I guess they still want that oil just as, much as Rick and Morty fans want that Szechuan sauce. So, I'm looking forward to the next chapter. But of course, the two really big things that happen in this chapter are, as many people were predicting, including myself, it turns out that the Kruger guy is actually post-time jump Eren in the most unsubtle foreshadowing possible. It is finally revealed as Falco brings good old Eren down. Although you have to wonder, though, it is nice to see the Waldian Jews back again. You gotta wonder, Eren's got the Attack Titan, he's also got the Originator Titan. Isn't, sending him to, do an infiltration mission the most dangerous and possibly stupid thing possible? Because, think about it. He's surrounded by, 4 or 5 warrior titans, and he's only just, one guy. I assume that, in the next chapter, we're going to have a nice little talk between him and Reiner, where we see that, he's got some sort of leverage that'll prevent it. But it's obviously that we're going to lead to some sort of big sequence where the big Tiber family announcement happens. And then Eren's going to transform, and then we're going to have some big Titan battle between him and the Armored Titan. And then maybe we'll finally get to see the Warhammer Titan, as Eren and Armin and possibly whoever has Annie's power, assuming they ever got her out of that crystal, just go and start fucking shit up. Who knows, maybe they gave it to Mikasa, and Mikasa is a Titan form. I can sort of see that happening. So, that's sort of a really exciting development. We also got to see Eren sort of, meet his grandfather, who we now see that, is, so horribly traumatized from his experience of, like, you know, selling out his younger daughter to be eaten by dogs, that he just, like, just starts randomly screaming, because there's a second where it's like, oh, does this guy know that Eren's, does he recognize him? But then, you know, it turns out that he doesn't. He's just this sort of crazy guy, and Eren's cover isn't blown. But, you know, then there's also a little bit more intrigue where we have, like, the commander of the Marleyan forces talking with the self-hating Jew, Billy. That is the worst name ever for a self-hating Jew. Billy, that, like, you know, seems to imply that they know about the Waldians infiltrating them, and assumingly, like, Armin or Mikasa or someone else is, you know, stationed in. Although that does seem, like, really weird that, like, it would be so easy. I mean, it makes sense from a poetic sort of standpoint of, like, you know, justice, in the sense that, you know, the Marleyans, you know, pulled a once-over on the Waldians by, you know, sort of infiltrating their ranks and, you know, going behind the wall and learning about them, that they should be able to pull off the same tactic on the Waldians. But, like, I don't know, like, are there any tests to tell if you're an Eldian versus, like, regular Marleyan? Because, I mean, assumingly, you know, they're both human, but I don't know if there's, like, everyone gets blood tested or whatnot, or what the, how easy, I mean, they don't have walls, so maybe it's easier, but, like, you'd think that it wouldn't be so easy for, like, a random stranger with no records whatsoever to, like, just show up, but who knows, maybe we'll get a flashback chapter explaining that, but, you know, exciting things are abounding, so I think this was definitely, like, a much better chapter than we've seen before. And of course we have the, like, little festival moment where, like, the little warrior candidate kids get to be like kids, but, you know, we also got a scene of you know, the warrior kids basically getting to enjoy a festival, and Gabby getting to be like a little you know, a regular kid who's not concentrated on becoming a biomechanical mech warrior. Which I guess is kind of nice if we actually like those kids, but, like, nobody likes the warrior kids, especially Gabby. Although, it does feel like, you know, whatchamacallit, Hashiyama, you know, if I'm getting his name right, is sort of building Gabby up to be, like, inverted female version of Eren. So at some point we'll probably see them in conflict or something. Like, you know, Reiner will, like, let her eat him so she can become the armored titan, and that way, like, you know, Eren comes into direct conflict with her, and, you know, then we can sort of have that sort of, like, you know, can Eren overcome, you know, the younger version of himself who is just as dogmatic as he used to be when he was younger. Because, like, Eren is not, like, the most nuanced character. I think Exclamation Point did a really funny video, like, kind of criticizing Attack on Titan, you know, calling its storytelling juvenile, which I won't necessarily deny. It is, like, the ultimate sort of edgelord series, which is why, you know, these last few chapters have been really, really interesting in the sense that, like, you know, originally it was like, you know, oh my god, fuck these kaiju zombies. They're the worst. They're gonna make humanity extinct. Then, you know, after the basement reveal, we learn that, you know, humanity's stake in the Attack on Titan world is far broader and less in danger than we originally thought, and what we're actually seeing is this weird racial genocide conflict between the Jews and the Germans. And that things aren't quite as black and white as we thought it was. And, you know, all the Titans were basically, you know, the Eldians killing themselves. So we still haven't quite gotten a payoff in terms of, like, you know, how Eren, like, reacts and how this new information has, like, changed his outlook. We have a little bit of a clue given how sullen Kruger, his alias, is. So that's the sort of, like, indication that maybe his philosophical outlook to how things should be playing out has changed considerably, given the fact that he seems, you know, far less, you know, he doesn't seem like the Eren we once knew who would, like, yell and scream, I'm gonna kill all the Titans, I'm gonna burn them all, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, because I think they should all die. Ultimately, though, I'm sure we'll get, like, a big final conflict between Eren and Billy, the self-hating Jew, as, you know, who will probably wind up being the series' final villain, given the fact that Billy, the self-hating Jew, is responsible, is the Jew who's controlling, everything. Which I still find really interesting. I can't tell if, Attack on Titan is the secret, white nationalist text, or if, he's actually trying to employ this, sort of broader history to try and give the series a little bit more nuance. But the funniest thing, though, is that, I read an interview where he said he wanted a feeling comparable to The Mist, Frank Darabont's The Mist, which still feels kind of weird, except for the fact that, maybe he wants an ending that's similar to The Mist, of, complete existential dread and ennui, where, in that ending, they drive in the mist, and eventually they run out of gas, and it's we tried our best. So then the main guy kills the two people who are with him, as well as his son, and then he's kill me, ah! After he's forced to make that choice, and then he finds out that the military came and killed all the mist creatures. So if he just waited 30 minutes more, everything would have been fine. So I don't know if Attack on Titan is gonna have something comparable to that, where Eren murders the self-hating Jew, and it's you only killed me because I wanted to save the world from yourself. And then, Eren's we, and then Armin and Mikasa are we won. And then Eren just looks upon the destruction of all the dead children and bodies left behind as he destroys Marley. And he's no! Why did I have to do this? Ah! We really are the devils who killed humanity! So something like that. And, I could see that happening, considering the direction the series has gone in. But, we're overdue for an insane action sequence, and it definitely feels like one. So hopefully, now that we've, kind of an inverted scene of, when Reiner captured Eren, and Eren couldn't get any information, now Eren knows everything, so it'll be interesting to see how their conversation they have between Reiner and Eren, the PTSD admitting Reiner. And who knows, maybe Reiner will have a heel turn and become good, maybe. I think he's more likely to shoot himself at this point, but, if you're a Reiner fan, who would have thought that minor little guy would become, one of the central pillars of the entire effing series? Because we have gotten a whole shit ton of Reiner fan stuff. It is just Reiner everywhere. So, let's see here. If I had to give the score, I'd give it an 8.0. Good old 8. I definitely liked it much better than the last few chapters. It seems like it's building up to it, but still, we haven't really gotten a payoff. We've gotten just more interesting texture as we see, the Eldian warrior kids are, forced to serve the magisters of the fucking, party, which is really weird that, these are the kids who are supposed to be, the special, pride of Marley, and then they're just basically, table waiters. I guess you could say that's part of their military training. But, I guess just goes to reinforce that they're, second-class citizens, and of course everyone hates them, and we understand why people hate the Titan people, or Judeans, because, they turn into giant kaiju zombie monsters that eat people, and, we've had the terror of what that entails really well enforced, so it doesn't matter who's using them, they'll always be hated. So, again, it's, have to wait till the beginning of November to see what happens next. It's definitely a very, interesting chapter. Looks like we'll either get, a big story point or big epic action climax, or, maybe next week we'll get the beginning of that festival and we'll learn what the, self-hating Jews have planned for the rest of the world, and, or, their Jewish cousins behind the wall. All exciting times, and who knows, maybe Mikasa has also been hiding around in the background. So I think that covers my thoughts on good old Attack on Titan, Chapter 98. So thank you for listening to my thoughts and enjoying this little video cobbled together of AMVs, or maybe video game footage, I'm not quite sure. When you're watching it, you'll have an idea of what I picked. And thank you for your time. And remember, like, comment, subscribe, and also, lobster's antennas, but don't you grab it.
Lobsters made